Hey guys, welcome to our 2022 quarter one donor updates. Just wanted to spend a few minutes telling you about what we've been doing with Shift through the first 3 months of 2022. It's been very exciting. Started the year in East Africa, in Nairobi, Kenya, Mombasa, Kenya, as well as I was also in Uganda. So it's been a great start to the year. So let's get into it. This is going to be the good, the bad, and the future. All right. So for starters, for those of you that are just kind of getting familiar with Shift and who we are, first of all, my name is Ethan. Ethan Brisby. I'm the founder, and so I'm a American-born man, but I've just really been enthralled all throughout my academic career and my professional life with getting back to the continent. So when the opportunity came in 2021 to get over there, and then also to implement the work that I'd already been doing in the United States with helping young adults to, get from where they are now to where they want to be, it really took off to this point, Shift had really been a hobby, something that I did on my own just to help my son's friends and help young people apply for college and inspire them. But then now that we're on the continent, it's really began to take a life of its own. So that's why I'm doing these updates so people can know what's going on and maybe want to get involved in some kind of way to help. Speaking of, I'm actually going to be, depending on when you watch this, tomorrow, which is Saturday, April 9th, I'll be being a guest speaker for a show, Essential Tips for the First Time You Travel to Africa. We'll get it recorded. Hopefully, we'll be able to put it up as a blog post. But that's what I'm all about right now is helping to bridge the gap between African Americans and Africans, especially those all over the diaspora. Before we get into these updates, just want to know this is what Shift is about. We're just consistency, right? Over time, this started as an idea when I was in graduate school. I put it into a competition, and before I knew it, I was telling people, "Hey, listen to this," and now here we are. So it's just consistency. No matter what anything looks like at any given point, we're gonna always keep going, and that's the staple of myself, and that's what I bleed over into to Shift. With that being said, let's start off with the good. I always want to start out with the good stuff that's happening. So this past fall, we had our pilot program, as you guys know, that have been following us in Zebraville, which was founded by a young man named Joel Omo. In the quarter one, Zebraville actually was able to begin and launch their business as we planned them to do after they won the pilot competition. They actually are working on their first documentary called Sarah. It's about a girl who is a basketball player in Uganda, and the theme is women empowerment and how women are breaking through glass ceilings all over the globe, but specifically in Uganda. And so her story is the root of that. And you'll see Zebraville also during the month of March had they offered discounts to women entrepreneurs on the continent for graphic designing and video ads. So we couldn't have asked for a better ambassador to help us get started. And so this is some of the results of the work that we're doing. Joel, when he came in, Zebraville was just an idea, but we gave it life, and here we are now pushing through to the next phases. Another good thing to report is our winter cohort. We finished our winter cohort. We had 18 people sign up from 5 different countries in East Africa, and they went through our 5-week academy. And then, of course, we had our pitch competition. It was March the 18th, and our 4 finalists all were representatives of Livingstone University. They were senior business administrative students at Livingstone University in Eastern Uganda. And Mark Naruku was the winner of the competition. So shout out to Mark. And so Mark's business is what we're going to help him launch is he wants to translate books into native African tongue. So, various books that we don't always see translated into Swahili or languages such as that. Mark is Congolese, so his primary language is French. So there's quite a few French-speaking African nations as well. So he's also going to be helping to get books translated into the local French dialects. And so we're going to help him do that. And it's basically an online service, a membership-based service that we'll be helping Mark do. So he won our winter cohort. So shouts out to Mark. Um, also staying with the good stuff while we're here, our second place finisher is Armand Musafari. And so the good thing I want to share about what's happening is that because we've been able to build some momentum, there are some people here in the States taking notice. One is ADCO. ADCO is a company based in Chicago, and they were able to sit in on one of our academies, and they said, Ethan, we have a summer internship, and we'd like to offer uh, someone from your pitch competition at Shift an opportunity to be a part of our summer internship program, which is paid, which is really what we got to help people do. The whole idea behind helping people in East Africa launch these businesses is that they can generate income to live a self-sustainable life. So Armand, you see his idea there. He has that shirt he has on is his shirt, right? He's branded that. He's a senior in college as well. While he didn't get funding through Shift, because at this point we can only fund one business at a time, he is in the process of securing that internship. So that's a big plus as we continue to build out our ecosystem. And finally, this is me with some of the team in at Lake Monyoni in Kampala, Uganda. We came out with our 2021 impact report in January, so that's another good thing to share about what's happening here with us. If you haven't read the impact report, it's on our website. I think we even made a blog post about it. You can find it there to find out what we did in 2021. So that's our good. Um, okay, now as we sort of transition into the bad. This is still good, right? The good thing is from three separate donors. We haven't done just a lot of outreach to raise money because, like I say, Shift has always been either something that I would fund on my own or it was self-sustaining. We would go out and get contracts to pay for, the expenses that might incur. But since it's been on the continent and we hadn't had relationships established, it was a bit of a heavy lift for me to fund 100% on my own. So have began to sort of begin the process of soliciting donations and seeking out grants to help us grow. So, but in the first quarter, we were able to raise $725, which was about $240 per donor. That's a good thing. The only thing is we spent about $2,200 in the first quarter on the programming, and that's to make sure enterprisers have data to be able to log on, to make sure that we have staff on the ground getting things done, and then people always just have issues at hand that, as a family, we want to try to help take care of. So any difference from donors and what's being spent is usually coming out of my pocket, and so we want to be able to improve upon that and make it more of a team effort. Okay, let's get headfirst into some of the things that are unfortunate so far that have happened. One is that our number one partner, Ethan Ellsworth Vocational School, no relation to me, but a friend of mine, has a vocational school in eastern Uganda where he provided students with bricklaying training, mechanical engineering, baking, and fashion design and sewing, right? And so we had bought a sewing machine to help them continue that program. They have multiple sewing machines, but you guys may not know this, but in Uganda, the schools were actually closed for 18 months. If you can imagine when COVID hit, the schools, all schools, from kindergarten all the way through universities, were closed, were shut down. The universities came back sooner than the high schools and some of the vocational schools, but for 18 months, nobody was learning anything. And so, whenever the president did give the green light for schools to open back up in the fourth quarter of 2021, Ethan Ellsworth had really lost its momentum. It's a newer school, and so they tried to open back up, but just due to a lack of funding, they had to shut down. So we're talking 300 students that would be getting these vocational skills to be able to go out and earn a living and get work. When I was there on the ground, I saw some of the homes that these guys built after learning how to do bricklaying, and so it is needed. But that's one of the bad that I want to report, that due to lack of funding, Ethan Ellsworth is currently closed. Um, Another thing that we got to improve on is that of the enterprisers that completed our exit survey, 11 of them completed our exit survey. Five said, I wasn't able to attend every class simply because I didn't have data. In Uganda and Kenya, where we primarily are, you don't buy data how we do with internet here. It's not a situation where you get a monthly unlimited access, or it comes with your cell phone plan. You literally buy it, as you need it, and it gets rather expensive. So we have a data fund that we created, and we try to help as much as we can. Basically, for about 100,000 shillings a month, which is $28. We can keep an enterpriser online all month long. So that's what it boils down to. About 28 bucks a month, he keeps an enterpriser online, being able to come to the courses and to some of the continuing education classes we have for them to launch their businesses. Um, And because you can see, here from President Biden here in the U.S., high-speed internet is essential infrastructure for the 21st century. And so we just want to be able to make sure not only the things that we support here in the U.S., we still want to be able to support what we're doing abroad. Um, one other thing about bad before we get into the future is that this is Delilah. Delilah is my assistant, and Delilah's been with Shift from the beginning in September, whenever this thing was just an idea. Hey, how could we create some type of online virtual course to help people launch businesses? Delilah is a journalist, and she also has a full time job, but unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, Delilah needs a laptop, and not just her, but some of the other staff and volunteers on the ground. It's very difficult to do the work with whenever I'm not there, because if they need it's a virtual school, so you need laptops, you need data. So not only Delilah, but our enterprises. So I'm thinking if we need maybe 10 to 15 laptop computers, and then if you win the competition, maybe a laptop comes along with what you win, or if you make it to the finals where we have our top 4 out of 15, you get a laptop. And so, just thinking of ways that we can kind of at least at the core help overcome this issue. So we do have some stuff I'm going to talk about here in the future as to how we're looking to solve it. But right now, there's an overwhelming need for laptops for our support team and enterprises to be able to stay online. Okay, looking toward the future. So we do have some events planned. We got a few fundraisers coming up. One is a trivia night. I came up with this idea during Black History Month. I created like 50 Black History questions, and so we're gonna do a virtual trivia night where people can come on and just have fun as we, test your knowledge on Black history. At the same time, we'll be raising money for the cause. So we have a couple of events planned in that sort of vein that are there's sort of a low hanging fruit where we can raise 500, 1,000, $1,500 at a time, because when you raise American dollars and you spend them in Ugandan shilling or Kenyan shillings, it goes a very long way. This isn't some deal where we're needing, $2 million or $100,000. We're talking $10,000 to run the program for an entire year. Um, so we have applied for the Rudenberry Foundation grant, which is for $25,000, and we've applied to two seed grants that are $1,000 a piece, and we're waiting to hear back on those. So those are some of the things we're doing to make up the shortfall and kind of take some of the pressure off of myself to put the money in for these programmings. Okay, we're almost out of here. Two other things that we've done is that Shift typically in the U.S., as we've always ran it, we typically target organizations that already have a budget and a footprint with the population we want to serve. So while I was in Kenya, I was a guest speaker at Jomo Kenyatta University. And as I mentioned, Livingstone International University in Uganda had about 8 students be a part of our last cohort. And they were very pleased. The administration was very pleased with what we did. So we want to follow the U.S. model where we were able to partner with like the Boys and Girls Club and Texas A&M University, the City of Bryan, and other entities that already have youth, so that we can just present them with a curriculum and they pay us to come in and teach it. So we want to implement that on the continent as another means of generating revenue and making sure we can sustain the work. Um, almost last thing I'll say is that another program that we're launching is called Shift Launchpad. And when we created Shift Launchpad, Delilah and I had, for example, Melanie in mind. Melanie Santameyer was in our first pitch competition. And so Melanie's idea was to launch a touring company where she could target African Americans to help fulfill this mission of Shift of bridging the gap between Africans and African Americans. So the tour company would create various excursions and to come to Kenya and Uganda, but Melanie didn't win. So Melanie didn't get funding because again, right now we only fund one business at a time, and that's $500 to fund a business. So Launchpad is a monthly meetup where previous enterprisers get to come in and continue to get the support they need to develop their idea and create these to essentially get from where they are to where they want to be. And so our first Shift Launchpad is April the 30th. And we want to make sure we can continue to build this ecosystem out to support not only our enterprises that win the competition, but also those that just simply might need some advisory services or ongoing assistance before they can get to funding. And so that's a new program, Shift Launchpad. And we'll be looking for people that want to be guest speakers to come on and do presentations each month, and also folks that may want to be advisors. If you can't give money, maybe you can give time, maybe you can give knowledge. All these things help. Because at the end of the day, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have 4 enterprise academies this year. Okay, each academy is going to have an average of 15 enterprises. So by the end of the year, we want to be able to say we helped to launch 60 new businesses. Okay, so that's what's coming. Our next is our spring cohort. We'll open registration for that as soon as we raise some funds, from over the next month or so. So I want to make sure that's less of a strain on myself when it comes to doing what we got to do. So that's one reason why we're doing these updates. All right, so that's all I have for now. Thank you. Check our website for more about Shift. You can also follow up with me if you want to schedule a meeting. We can talk more about how you can give and being a part of this, what we're building on the continent, and also how we can implement some of these solutions here domestically in different parts of the country. So again, I'm Ethan. This has been the Quarter 1 Shift Enterprise Academy donor updates. If you're an existing donor, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're a potential donor, take that leap of faith. I can assure you this is fertile ground. All right. Have a good day.